Aloha, ohana, I don't know. Hey, you know what? It's island time, baby. That's all I know. Anyways, today we're gonna talk about what is a managed care organization and how can you get contracted with them. Hold on, first, you want some pina colada? The margarita? Would you like a little sip? It's really good. You want some? Yeah, you can have a little bit. Here, just for you. If you like, comment, subscribe, get yourself a little swag. Anyways, I'm gonna get this ridiculous stuff off here. We're gonna talk about managed care organizations, how to get contracted, what does it mean, what's the process look like. Let's go through it and provide a little education so you guys feel like you know what you're talking about, how you approach these MCO providers. My name is Chris Chan, the founder and CEO of Active Age Daytime Senior Care. I would really appreciate you to like, comment, subscribe, show us a little love. And if you haven't already, make sure to adcpro.com. Join us for our monthly webinars. They're completely free. Every month we get on a call, we answer people's questions, we help them understand how to navigate this wild world of adult day. And if you haven't already, make sure you join our Facebook group. If you'd like to open your very own Active Age franchise, go to activeagecare.com/franchise. Now that we got all the housekeeping items out of the way, let's get right into it. So now this information is going to be a little bit more specific to Florida, but if you're in a state that has a managed care organization or an MCO, this could be applicable. This may help you. Some states, you're gonna bill directly through Medicaid. And keep in mind, I am making this video for those of you who either want to focus on Medicaid or maybe are focused on private pay, but also want to bill for Medicaid services in your adult day center. So keep in mind that 90% of our revenue is private pay. The other 10% is through Medicaid. So I'm sharing with you how it's done, but it's not our primary focus. But if you would like to operate or bill through Medicaid for your adult day center, this is gonna provide a little context. So just wanna share that with you. For those of you that are kind of getting into this field, you don't have to do this. This isn't something like I necessarily recommend. In fact, I know I always talk about private pay being the way, but I think it's still helpful that you're aware of it if this is a route that you'd like to go. So number one, this is gonna happen after you've already gotten your Medicaid number. So you've already gotten your National Provider Identification Number, your NPI number. You've already gone through the Medicaid credentialing process, and now you have a Medicaid number. And now you have one more step, and that is to get contracted with your managed care organizations. And think of a managed care organization, or also known as an MCO, as an insurance company, okay? And the state gives the insurance company so many dollars per person who is on Medicaid, and the state's like, you know what? Aetna, Humana, whatever other insurance company's name that you can think of, you go manage the care of these individuals who are on Medicaid, and we'll pay you to manage their care, right? So then as a care provider, now you have to get a contract with this insurance company, okay? And this is not Medicare, this is Medicaid. So for those that are maybe 65 and up, you're gonna be dealing with, in the state of Florida, the statewide Medicaid managed care, SMMC, right? And then SMMC is the state program that oversees all of the MCOs for the state of Florida, okay? So I know this sounds a little complicated, and I hope I'm making sense here, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna develop a relationship and get a contract with a Humana, an Aetna, one of these managed care organizations. You're gonna get a contract with them in order to bill for services like adult day, okay? And if you have home care, same thing. A lot of this stuff is gonna be very similar. But that being said, when you do this, you're gonna have to get a contract, but there's a process to it. And a lot of times what might happen is you get your NPI number, you get your Medicaid number, and now you reach out to your MCOs in your area and you go to start getting a contract with them, and maybe some don't have, you have to go through credentialing first, so you can't get a contract right away. Or maybe others, they have an immediate need for services of someone that's in their network, and they need your services, and they give you what they call a single case agreement, but you're not fully contracted with them yet. So these are all these different things that can happen, but I'm gonna break them down for you one by one. So number one, a single case agreement. This is an agreement with the MCO and you as the care provider for one person for a limited period of time. So all of a sudden, Joe needs help. And then you come on board and you start developing a relationship with this MCO. Now Joe is receiving their care, through the managed care organization. All of a sudden they need this help. They need adult day services. Okay, so the MCO works with you and they give you what they call a single case agreement, right? On the single case agreement, it says, okay, you can take care of Joe and we're willing to pay you X and we're willing to do it for this period of time. And so what it is it's not a full contract. It's basically giving you the opportunity to take care of Joe and get paid for taking care of Joe and only Joe. So if Mary comes along, you can't just take care of Mary too, that's part of that insurance company, and get paid for Mary yet because you don't have a single case agreement with Mary. But if you had a contract with that MCO, then you could take care of Mary or Joe as long as you had an authorization for services. So the reality of it is you're gonna come across this thing called this single case agreement. It's gonna happen. You may not be fully contracted. There may be a lot of different reasons why you're not fully contracted yet. It could be that you're held up in credentialing and they haven't approved you as a provider yet, but they need services today for this person, so they're willing to do a single case agreement. So single case agreement, it's gonna be limited to one person. You're gonna sign a contract with a rate on there and the services you're gonna provide for that single individual. And it's kind of a quick way that they can go ahead and start paying you for services to take care of one of their members, right? So the other thing that might happen is you might go into an area and you start telling these MCOs that you're now open, you're licensed, you have a Medicaid number, you'd like to develop a relationship with them. And what may happen is they may send you what they call a letter of agreement. And a letter of agreement could be, not everyone does this, but this might be one of those things that's almost like a letter of intent, a letter of agreement. Hey, they're basically saying this is what we're willing to pay, here's our terms, would you agree to this if we went to full contracting? And if you are in this stage, this is an opportunity for you to negotiate your rates. Because they're hey, we're willing to give you X. Would you be willing to enter into a contract with us if we give you this much, per day, per member that comes, right? And you might say, you know what, I can't accept $45 per day, but I could do, $50 or $55 or $60 per day or $75 or whatever it is that you need to be at in order to be profitable, right? So you might go back and forth and negotiate this rate, and then you get to a place where you're both in agreement on that rate, and then they issue you a letter of agreement saying, okay, hey, this adult day center, ABC Adult Day Center, is willing to move forward with a contract if you sign this letter of agreement saying that you guys both agree on these terms, okay? So that could, but the thing is too is now this might be a temporary authorization of services where you might be able to start taking care of people who might be on that healthcare plan or that MCO plan. You might be able to start taking care of people, and this could be one of those things that maybe is for a limited period of time where now you enter into the letter of agreement, and maybe it's for 6 months while you go through credentialing, right? Because you're still gonna have to go through the credentialing phase. The credentialing phase has to happen in order for you to enter into a full contract with this MCO, right? So this could be a segue to it. Now in this case, you might be able to take care of anyone that they send you as long as you have an authorization, where a single case agreement is not a full contract. Remember, that's just for one person and it's for a limited period of time, right? The letter of agreement is maybe a limited period of time, but allows you to start servicing multiple people as long as you have an authorization. Now you're gonna go into credentialing, okay? Once you've made it to the credentialing stage, some companies are really fast, and this might happen in 6 days, or it might take a couple weeks, or it could take 60 days or 6 months. It depends on the MCO and the manpower they have to get people through the credentialing process. Now in the credentialing process, you're gonna provide them your insurance, you're gonna provide them with your license, your ownership disclosures, you're gonna provide them with things like, they're gonna verify your NPI number and your Medicaid number, make sure all those things are in good standing. Once you've gone through credentialing, they're all right, green light, you made it through credentialing. Now we're gonna go ahead and send you a contract, and the contract is gonna be now something that exists for maybe 6 months with an auto renewal on it, or it might be something where the contract's every 2 years, and it's going to depend highly on the MCO provider, right? So you might have some MCOs, for instance Humana, we renew with them every 2 years, but other MCOs Like we have 6-month agreements that kind of just auto renew every 6 months. But the idea is when you get to the contracting stage, you've already gone through credentialing, and now in the contracting stage, anyone that walks through your door, anyone that a case manager sends your way, and you can get an authorization for services on, then you can go ahead and start taking care of those individuals and then actually bill for those adult day services. So these are just like all of the different terminology that's going to come up if you're trying to get contracted with MCO providers. And it can be very confusing because you're gonna go and get your NPI number, and then you're gonna get your Medicaid number, and then you're like, what do I do now? Now you're gonna go find an MCO provider and start trying to get contracts with those MCO providers in your market. And you might talk to other adult day centers that like say, hey, don't use this MCO, go with this MCO, or don't get contracted with this one because the reimbursement rates are just too low. This one has more favorable reimbursement rates, but you're also gonna find that sometimes MCO provider that has the most referrals for you may not be the highest paying MCO provider. So you're gonna have to make those decisions yourself and kind of figure out, okay, where do I need to be in order to still make a profit? What do I need to be able to charge, when it comes to, the MCO side of things, right? Is it $65 a day? Is it $75 a day? Is it $80 a day? Because at the end of the day, you might have private pay over here paying 100 to 110. You might have VA paying 110, so the private pay and the VA and the long-term care insurance might offset your Medicaid. So you might need to be at least in a certain place where you're like, I know we can't accept less than $65 per day for our Medicaid folks, because we need that at least at a minimum in order to be profitable, right? So you'll negotiate those rates, you're gonna get contracted with them, but in the meantime, you could do things like a single case agreement. Some companies offer like a letter of agreement in advance of credentialing, and kind of bridging the gap between the period of time that you first contact them and reach out to them and you start developing that relationship and negotiate the rates to the period of time where you're actually in contract with them. So I hope this was helpful. Hopefully I didn't cause any more confusion. I know this world can be very, very difficult to navigate as it is. This is just another reason why we prefer private pay, because it's just easy. We don't have single case agreements. We don't have letter of agreements. We don't have credentialing. We don't have contracting. We just have Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. It makes things a lot easier. So that being said, guys, I hope this was helpful. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, show a little love below. We so appreciate you guys. And if you haven't already, go to adcpro.com, sign up for our monthly webinars. Make sure you join our private Facebook group. And if you want to open your very own ActiveAge, go to activeagecare.com/franchise. We'll see you in the next one. Peace. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to learn how to open your own adult daycare center, go to adcpro.com. If you'd like the latest business tips, click here, and make sure you subscribe to our channel, click here. We'll see you guys next time.